I did.
Go
Hello.
ahead, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
How are you?
Good.
How do you feel physically? Do you feel like you're back to 100%, or you still guys have some work to do in that area?
I feel like I'm 100%. I guess sometimes it's hard to gauge as far as what 100% is, when you're going through your first college season. Um, I went through the same thing my first high school season as a freshman, just kind of gauging where you are physically is something new, based on kind of what you're going through. But I feel like I'm in a pretty good place right now. Um, as far as my, conditioning and everything, and just trying to, every day just try and get a little bit better in that department. But overall, I don't think there's anything holding me back necessarily, at least from my perspective. I don't know, maybe from the coach's perspective or trainer's perspective, maybe they have a different perspective. But as far as I'm concerned, um, I feel okay, and I feel like I wouldn't have come here if I didn't have people around me telling me that I need to be better in that department. Um, but it's just more about, I think, staying ready as far as the conditioning. If I get a chance to be in the game for longer stretches, I'm just making sure that I'm ready, so I don't have to come out just because I physically can't play, that long.
But I would. Did you didn't have mono your freshman year in high school, did you?
No, yeah. So that's just like an added layer on top of everything. Although, I think I'm past that at this point. I definitely don't want it to be an excuse for me as far as like, everyone evaluating me this year goes. And I don't want a free pass, just because I was sick. It comes down to me just trying to be the best version of myself and trying to help this team win. So that really shouldn't be a narrative at this point, because I don't need that and I don't want that excuse. I probably had that hall pass for the first few weeks that I was back, but I really shouldn't be using that anymore.
But it had to have been a challenge because you're trying to learn a system that you don't know, and you're also dealing with a health issue. How did you work your way through that, and not only physically but mentally to get yourself back to where you want to be?
It was tough. I think the hardest thing for me mentally was just like not being around people, not being around the team for like really almost a month, because there was like a couple weeks where I really just laid in my bed and just felt like a piece of crap. Um, so that was hard. And then even, sitting at practice when I first came back or right before I, got pretty sick, it was hard because I really wasn't like intaking information. Coach Payne obviously could tell that, because when we finally found out that I had it, he was like, yeah, there was a couple times the past week or so where I was telling you something, you were kind of looking at me just like glassy eyed, like not knowing what the heck was going on. So I think that was the hardest thing. And then when you get back, I said when I first came back, I feel like I understood a lot of stuff, but it's so different watching it and then actually having to apply it in a game setting. And then you're dealing with all these other things as far as, fatigue and just playing and stuff. So no, it's definitely up there with one of the biggest challenges I think I've had to deal with as far as me playing basketball. And I think obviously, there's more challenges ahead, just as far as, figuring everything out and how to be successful and how to help this team win games. But no, it was a struggle. So, but I'm sure I'll come to appreciate it more the more it goes on. Pick from experiences from it and stuff.
At the beginning of the year, you kind of got thrown to the fire because of some injuries,
Yeah.
and physically, you were probably not ready to play those kind of minutes. How did you battle through that, and how were you on the other end of that, coming out of those first couple games?
Um, well, I think the biggest thing was I had the coaches, obviously understanding my situation. Um, because there was a few times in those first couple games where I was like asking to come out, just because I knew if I was in any longer, I was just going to be a severe detriment to the team, as far as, I just couldn't play for long stretches. So that was definitely tough, because it's almost like, and I hate not being prepared. So it's basically like going into a test that you haven't studied for, and you just have to try and figure it out. Um, and I think I was okay in that regard. I mean, you obviously pull from a lot of the work that you've done before you were sick and stuff, but throwing that on top of just being my first couple college games, it was definitely a different experience. But, I hope down the road, like I said earlier, I can draw on those experiences and kind of, just learn from them and make the most of it.
How much is playing the floor new to you?
It kind of sucked how when I got sick, like right around that time was when remember there's a couple practices we experimented with it a little bit. And at the end of the day, it's whatever I can do to help the team win. Like, and just if that helps me get on the floor, helping this team wherever we need, I'm fine with it. Especially I think, with when we have a coaching staff that's creative as far as like making the best use of all the players out there. Like I trust, like, no matter what position I'm in, I'm going to be put in a position to be successful. I just have to kind of follow, the rules that are in place, and just the things to help us win. So not having played there in a game yet and being there a little bit on when we played Illinois Saturday for the first time, not caught me off guard because I knew what was going on. Just kind of like I said before about coming back from being sick, just like applying it in a game setting. It was definitely a learning experience, and I was definitely not great, not even great, not good defensively as far as just over helping and not, clearing rebounds and stuff like that when I was in. But at the end of the day, it's just, I got to take it as a learning experience and realize that, those are deficiencies that I need to keep fixing and working on, and then take advantages of some of the advantages I would have as far as being on the floor at that position, and being more of a guard.
Just one more from me. You came in, great passer, your build is that and all that. But do you feel like you've been able to showcase your skills to some level this year, or is this going to be a year where you just got to have to fight through and kind of do what you can, as you said, to help the team, but also, push yourself forward as well?
I think it's kind of both. I feel like earlier in the year, I think I showcased that enough. Not without a lot of stupid turnovers and stuff like that, which I've cut. Obviously playing less minutes, but I've cut back on this a little bit. And I just think it's both. I think it's very situational as far as who we're playing, who's in the game, because a lot of it comes down to what if we're running a play, that's obviously a lot different. I think when it comes to just playing motion, or if a play breaks down, or if we go in transition, that's where I need to look to be still a little bit more aggressive as far as just trying to make things happen or make other guys better. And at the end of the day, I know, like you said, if it's going to be a time where I can showcase my ability to, pass and help the team, or if it's more of a fight through, it's always going to be, no matter what, figuring out how to win games for this program. So if that means me doing none of that and doing stuff that I've never done before, if that helps us win, then that's what it is. So it's always going to be a fight, I think, just to win games, and me being able to, show my best parts will just kind of come with me being more comfortable in the situations and stuff. But overall, it's not about what I want to do. It's more about, how we can figure out how to win games and, figure out how to win this conference again.
All righty. Thank you very much. I yield to the senator from New Jersey.
Thanks, Mike.
The distinguished gentleman. Hey, Ethan, how are you?
I'm good, Brian. How you doing?
Good, thanks. How does it change your approach when it's 2 or 3 minutes at a time, as opposed to, being out there the whole game like you would have been in high school and kind of things like that? Guys, when they're young, often, obviously want to get on the floor and do something, but you don't want to force anything, I'd imagine. Just, has that been an adjustment for you?
Yeah. I think that's an adjustment for anybody that comes to college. And it's funny because Coach Payne actually just touched on it after last game. It's just a hard thing to do. Obviously, that's not like an excuse or anything, because you see it definitely gave me a bigger appreciation for guys that do it at this level and in the NBA, guys that have a lot of success coming off the bench, because it's not an easy thing to do. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is kind of just not to try and do too – it's a balance of like just trying to be solid and just do what you do. And then when the opportunities are there to make a splash play or make a big play for your team, you obviously need to do that. But when you're playing those minutes, you can't come in and like they're saying, you can't come in and like try and hit a home run, in 2 or 3 minutes, because that's just not going to work. It's almost like, you just go up to bat and this is another thing I got from Coach Paint, just like you're looking for a fastball just to be solid, get a base hit. And if you strike out looking at a curveball, you strike out looking at a curveball, because you're not looking for that. And if you strike out swinging at a fastball, you struck out, looking for something that you can hit. So just being solid in that regard and not trying to go outside of, what you're good at and what you work on, I think is the biggest piece to kind of grow and have success out of that and then make more out of it eventually.
Right. You seem really engaged on the bench. I think I've seen you slapping chairs all season long, things like that. In this weird season, is that almost like a form of leadership right now in terms of, the importance of teams generating their own energy, things like that?
Yeah, a little bit. I think more, obviously that should really always be a form of energy and leadership, from a team. But when it becomes more magnified, obviously, when you don't have the atmosphere of playing in, like an arena. But I think more than anything, it's kind of realizing your role again. So like if I'm gonna have more energy just because I haven't played as many minutes, I might as well use it up, trying to give guys on the floor juice and energy during the game, because otherwise, then you're kind of just wasting your time being here. And I know from experience, in high school and obviously here, like when there's energy on the bench and guys are excited and engaged and all kinds of stuff, that just kind of adds to it, and it makes your job a little bit easier knowing, hey, I might be dog tired right now, coming into this media timeout or going out of this media timeout, but I see this energy from the bench and it kind of gives me a boost that otherwise I might not be able to draw on my own. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is just knowing that you have to like be there for your teammates and stuff. And especially in this, setting that we're in, it's even more important in these games.
I'm good. Thank you, Ethan.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ethan.
Thanks, guys.